Welcome to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Roling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, or you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How was your week? Mine has been busy and full. We are getting ready to leave for our family vacation next week. It is dead week where I live. So that means the kids literally do not have anything. And it is the only week, it seems, other than spring break, we can actually take the kiddos anywhere. So we're going up to Brainerd and we rented a cabin and we'll go on the boat and we'll make s'mores and we'll unplug and it will be magical. So I'm super excited about that. I hope you have plans to do something similarly as fabulous. I talked last week about getting to abundance. I talked about this idea that it wasn't in more things. It was actually in the removal of things. It was in the saying no to things. And today I want to share with you a few ideas on what you can replace it with to stay in abundance. Specifically, what we need to say yes to. So the first thing that abundance requires of us to say yes to is conscious thinking. We need to choose our thoughts on purpose instead of just reacting to situations and people and circumstances. Knowing that our thoughts create the reality of our life, whether it is a life of greatness or a life of frustration, is completely up to this yes. When we are not intentional about how we think, we live on autopilot, going through the motions instead of creating them. That is why I love routines so much. Routines in the morning, routines midday, routines in the evening. Routines require a planning, a preparation, and an intentionality that aligns with your very, very best day. If you don't have any routines, that is, in your life, could you take a few minutes today to think about what would be a really great way to start the day? What would be a really great way to end the day? Living intentionally and having these days of purpose equates to living an intentional and purposeful life. And I know purpose is a huge topic in the personal development space. And I believe that you are the purpose, living in your uniqueness, living a purposeful life, I believe is the purpose of it. Staying conscious in thought is how you live that way. Choose your thoughts wisely, my friends, because your brain will go to work to prove them true. The next yes is to say yes to choosing your being. How do you want to be? How do you want to show up? Did you know that you could actually choose your personality, your attitude, your reactions, your energy? I'm going to go as far to say, not only do you get to choose it, it is your responsibility to choose it wisely. It doesn't matter if you've always considered yourself impatient. It doesn't matter if you've always considered yourself an introvert or a procrastinator or a perfectionist or a people pleaser. You get to choose who you want to be today and for your future. You get to decide what kind of energy you want to bring to a room, to a conversation, to a morning. Have you ever thought about the energy you exude? Can you decide that instead of being angry, that you could just be curious? Could you decide that instead of feeling frustrated, you could just be compassionate? Could you just decide that instead of resentment, You could be inspiring. How do you want to show up for yourself and your family? So many of us think that our identities, our I am statements, are permanent truths about ourselves, but they're not. They only represent who we have been. And if you're like most, you're listening, watching this, wondering how exactly can you become that better you? You might feel as if you're too old, or you're too set in your ways, or you don't have enough time or energy or money. But the good news is none of those things will stand in your way. It's just a little thought work. You can be anyone you wish to be. You just have to break the habit of being who you've been. The possibilities from that space and energy, that possibility for self-change, it's limitless. But you have to stop waiting for Monday to find you and take action this day, today. Saying yes to choosing your becoming is the absolute best thing that you can do for your personal growth and transformation. You can't make any changes until you know who you want to be. And the thing to remember is that none of us are simply a fixed set of attributes. No one is doomed to forever be the impatient one, or the unreliable one, or the one that's always late. No attribute defines you. We're all better than that. You can choose better for that. Everything is changeable. It's our resistance to this change that creates this feeling of permanence or doom, as it may be. Things like jobs and houses and friends and attitudes and demeanors, they're changeable if they're destructive parts of your life. So to begin to find a direction, I want you to find your greatest strengths and find out what brings you joy. And I want you to make a list of both and look for areas where the two lists intersect. What are your goals? Write those out as well. And beneath them, write out the skills that you'll need to learn and what steps you'll need to take in order to accomplish them. Right? Who would you have to become to be in that intersection? And voila, you have the beginnings of your becoming plan. Decide who you want to be, consciously choose it, and remind yourself of that daily until your becoming is unconscious. And then the rest of this journey is made all the easier. The next thing we're going to say yes to is our relationships. I talk about relationships a lot. They are the single most important indicator of longevity and life satisfaction. So it is important that we say yes to cultivating them, choosing them, honoring them, celebrating them. You get to pick who you want to do this life with for the most part. And if there are certain people that were put in your life that perhaps you might not have chosen for yourself, you still have the luxury of boundaries, and you have an opportunity for the self-exploration that those people permit. The people that we might attribute as difficult or quote unquote not our type of people give you lots of opportunities to learn and to grow. We don't have to do a lot of self-reflection work on the easy people in our life, but those that maybe don't think like we do, feel like we do, show up like we do, have similar politics, religious views, worldviews, it's an opportunity to be curious, to tap into compassion, to work on our being that best version of you, even when things and people are challenging. That is this work. The work isn't in showing up, being awesome and great when everything is awesome and great. The true test of your character is when things are not great. And my mom was a beautiful model of what that looks like. And I'm sure you might have heard the story before, but it is one that I will never forget. And so I'm going to share it with you. We had been just given her diagnosis, stage 4 lung cancer. As you can about imagine, I was 1,000 emotions at once, but mainly I was angry, mad. My silent thought was, of all the people in the world, of all of them, why her? A woman who has dedicated her life to her family, to my handicapped brother, who was as selfless as they come. Why her? My mom could read my heart. I was not strong for her. I lost it. I was an emotional wreck. And I just kept remembering saying that this is just not fair. This is not fair. She looked at me, she wiped my tears, and she said, "Sweetie, how did you get here?" I was confused by the ask. She reminded me that the way to John Stoddard into this very room, 381, where we were, was through Blank's Hospital for children with cancer. She said lovingly, like she does, but with that impact that she always made. If you want to talk about fair, you go talk to those moms that might not ever see their daughter's second birthday. They might have to bury their children before they get to experience kindergarten, graduations, friendships, marriages, and children of their own. I've witnessed and got to be part of all of that, she says. I've lived an incredible, amazing life, and I will no doubt continue to do so. This is what I call conscious being. Her incredible attitude about everything was her identity that she chose on purpose to role model for me and my sister and my brother. This is our responsibility as mature adults. This is our responsibility to do for our children, our families, our neighbors, and our community. Who are you going to be in your relationships when it's not awesome? It's not great. When you get an awful diagnosis that doesn't seem fair. When your kids drive you crazy with what they do or they don't do, how are you going to show up for you, for them? Are you going to get mad and yell and lose your mind in front of them? Or are you going to remind yourself that this is an opportunity to seek understanding, teach, and enforce your values? And P.S., being mad and yelling at your kids isn't a requirement for that. And even if you've yelled at your kids for as long as you can remember, can you extend grace with yourself? You have a good reason. It was probably modeled for you that way, but it doesn't mean you have to continue. Remember, we are saying yes to who we want to be. If you think I just yell at my kids, it's just what I do, know that that is just a thought. And if you want to have that thought and continue yelling at your kids, no problem. I'm going to love you anyway. But are you going to love you? Is that in alignment of who you want to be? And only you can ask yourself that. What can you do to honor and celebrate the people in your life? Remember, we're saying yes to those relationships. I love my birthday. It's next week, but I celebrate all month long. And I have this super fun party where I invite my tribe and we dance and we sing and we hug and we celebrate each other. I love my birthday because I get to celebrate, love, hug, and honor each of these fabulous women in my life that support me, that love me, that protect my family and my children, that have my back no matter what. These women need celebrated. And I love using my birthday to do just that. I'm the luckiest girl in the world to have this amazing community of women to do this life with. I love all of you. How can you love on the people in your life harder? Can you think about that today? When you do that, everyone wins. Can you be more intentional with your tuck-ins? Can you hug your spouse or your significant other just a few seconds longer? Can you reach out to a friend and actually talk to them? Yes, like pick up the phone and call them. It's seemingly a lost art. Can you call a family member just to check in on them and see how they're doing? What can you do today that will cultivate and connect you with the relationships in your life? Next, yes, we're going to say yes to. Can you say yes to being a force of good? Can you say yes to helping your world daily? What does that look like? That good deed, that holding the door, that paying it forward in the Starbucks line, helping someone load up their groceries. Can you give an unexpected compliment? Can you let someone cut in front of you in line? Can you slow down so someone can merge in front of you in traffic? Can you give up your seat on a plane so that other travelers can sit together? Can you pick up litter on the street and throw it out? Can you give an extra tip with a little note on the receipt? Can you just smile? Just smile all day long at people, at strangers, at everyone. And don't forget yourself. Schedule a pedicure or a massage, or spend a few minutes or hours reading a great book. Make time for another activity that you love. Being kind to yourself will give you the energy and the strength to be kind, to be a force of good in the world. Because kindness, as you know, is a gift that keeps on giving. And so could you sprinkle just a few of these ideas in your weekly routine? Can you write just a few of these on a piece of paper? And every day, maybe you and your kids pick out one. And that's how you're going to say yes to being that force of good today, every day. If you just pick out one of those and commit to doing that one thing daily, oh man, what a better world this world would be. The next yes is we need to say yes to taking personal responsibility and ownership of our life. We need to realize that we are in charge of how we show up, how we react, how we respond, how we reply. We are responsible for our attitudes, our personalities. We are responsible for our minutes and our hours and our life. We are responsible for the gifts we have been given, and they are ours to put out into the world as big as you possibly can. And if you're not sure what your gifts are, what your passion is, follow your energy. What do you have a lot of energy around? What do you love doing? What do you love talking about? What do you love exploring? What would that look like if you shared it with the world, or at the very least, shared it with yourself? We need to say yes to being wrong. I'm going to repeat that one. It's one of my favorites. We need to say yes to being wrong. Every negative emotion we have is because we are not willing to be wrong. We are not willing to realize logically and emotionally that nothing we experience is outside of ourselves, meaning we are the creators of everything we feel. And when we forget that or deny ourselves that gift, we place blame and judgment on everyone else in hopes that they can solve for the hurt, frustration, and stress. And as you know, they can't. I get it. You have good reason to want to be right. Your brain wants you to be right and validated and entitled more than it wants you to feel good and feel connected and to be truly alive. But that is when we need to go back to saying yes about owning our thoughts. What if we could create a new story, a new belief for our life? One that was of our choosing, one that allowed me to want to be wrong about it, for the curious possibility that is available in the wrong. Think about it this way. Is there any learning, growing, evolving in being right? Do you have to learn anything about yourself, others, and or the world when you are convicted to the rightness of your mind? No, there isn't. Only more confirmation that everyone else is doing it wrong, or that no one is like you, or that no one gets it, and that you're alone in the world. And that must mean that something is wrong with you. But the battle in your head is real if you're not onto it. It will write you into a life that you don't like, that you don't even recognize, that you are frustrated in and overwhelmed by. And when reaching for the answer to this problem, your brain offers you, I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know. I've tried everything. So my next yes is to saying yes to I don't know is a lie. Whenever you find yourself saying, I don't know, I want you to check in on yourself and know that it is a lie and explore for the answer. I don't know is your brain trying to be confused by your life so that it remains comfortable and right, safe and stable, secure and settled. I don't know how to fix it needs to be answered with, I don't need to know how. Just to trust that that right next action is available for me. I don't know what's wrong with me. That needs answered with nothing. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need fixed. The only thing that needs fixed is your thought that you do. If you didn't need fixed, what is that next step? And the answer is not logical, my friends, so don't go there. The answer is emotional. I don't know what's wrong with them needs answered with nothing is wrong with them either. I don't know what I'm doing wrong needs answered with nothing. Everything you have done and continue to do is an opportunity to learn from and decide from in alignment with what is true, not what is right. I don't know. I have tried everything needs answered with I have tried everything logically. And I realize I have been solving the wrong problem. You see, the problem is never outside of you. The problem is always inside. That is why we all need good coaches and mentors. Most of us can't see the problem within. We can't. It is our brain's way of protecting us. It would way rather solve for a problem outside of us. It is something that the brain can see. Your brain can't see your brain in your brain. So if you don't have a coach or a mentor, I would love for you to join our coaching program. Becoming, this is what we do. We find the problem within, and then we go to work on that. And as long as you continue to look outside of yourself for the solve, you will stay stuck and frustrated and stressed. I think sometimes, a lot of times, we go through our life thinking and forgetting that ourself in other people's life is neutral. I was coaching a woman earlier this morning, and she was offering up how no matter what she does, it's never good enough for her mother. Never. She could literally do everything perfectly, and it's never enough for her. And what I reminded my client that knows the work that I do is she's neutral, my client. My client is neutral. Her mother has a thought about her that she's not enough, that she's not doing it right. And when her mom has that thought, her mom feels awful and miserable. And she projects a bunch of shame. And what she does in her action line with that shame is that she takes it out, and she's mean, and she yells, and she says hurtful, awful things to her daughter. And the results are that she continues to feel like her daughter's not enough for her. And if my client gives her mother that permission to validate my client's own enoughness, she gives all of her power over to her mother. The reason why the mom struggles is because she is looking for something outside of herself to complete something that her and herself alone can only fill. She's looking for her daughter and other siblings and the world outside of her to validate her and to fill that void that is only hers to fill. The only enough is for us to do for ourselves. We're the only one that can offer that level of enoughness for ourselves. And that is the work. And that is enough. Understanding that our enoughness is our work to step into and to live into, that's the work that we're doing here. So I hope that you've enjoyed this today. And if you have anyone in your life that might be struggling in their life, perhaps feeling stuck or confused or wanting something more but not sure how, maybe you forward this on to them. I want abundance for each and every one of you by saying yes. Yes to conscious thinking. Yes to your being. Yes to your relationships. Yes to you being a force of good. Yes to you taking personal responsibility. Yes to being wrong. And yes to your knowing. The world needs more abundant beings. The world needs you to inspire it. Have an amazing weekend, everyone. Be abundant. Say yes. Bring your energy into the world in a big way today. Become unstoppable. We'll see you next Friday, same time. See you soon. Bye. You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Roling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahroling.com.